In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use line height in website design like a pro. You will learn simple but effective line height tips that will make your website design cleaner, professional looking, and easier to read. Kamusta kaibigan? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ali Pineda. I'm a professional website designer and developer based here in the Philippines. Here's what we are going to cover in this video. First, what is a line height and why it's important in website design. Second, how to calculate a line height using a simple math formula. And third, how much line height to use depending on the content within your website design. And at the end, I have prepared a bonus lesson for you. We will implement everything that you have learned about line height to a website design project inside of Figma. And don't worry, I will walk you through step by step. All of this sounds exciting, right? But here's the best part. What you will learn in this video doesn't just apply only to website design. You can also use them on many other things, like creating YouTube thumbnails, posters, packaging, business cards, and so much more. Alright, let's get started. What is a line height and why it's important in website design? Line height is the vertical distance between two lines of text. For example, the space that you see right here between these lines of text, that's the line height. So why is it important in website design? Well, my friend, it's better to show you rather than just telling you. In this example, we have a text that doesn't have enough line height. Unless you want your users to squint their eyes and struggle reading in your website, I don't recommend using this. Let's look at another example. Here we have a text that have way too much line height. Unless you want your users to have long eyes while reading in your website, I don't recommend using this either. Line height is important in website design because it can literally make or break the experience of the users when reading in your website. You might be asking, Ali, how do you know how much line height you need to use? We'll get into that later in this video. But first, I'm going to teach you how to calculate a line height using a simple math formula. In this example, we have a text with a line height value of 200%. Here's a pro tip. A line height value of 100% is also equal to 1. 120% is also equal to 1.2. 200% is also equal to 2. And 250% is also equal to 2.5. And so on and so forth. These values on the right side, they are the preferred format in website development. You might be thinking, Ali, we're currently talking about website design and not website development. I know. But knowing these things is really important and will be helpful to you later in this video. Aside from using a percentage value, you can also set your line height using a pixel value. If you are new and don't know what a pixel is, don't worry. You can think of it as the default unit we are using whenever designing a website. In this example, we have a paragraph with a font size of 32 pixels and a line height of also 32 pixels. So basically, it's using 100% line height. Let's say we want to set the line height to 140%. How are we going to do that? It's really easy. We just need to get the font size, which is 32 pixels, and multiply it by 1.4, which is also equals to 140%. Remember the things that I've taught you about line height percentage earlier? So this is where it's really helpful that you know them. 32 pixels multiplied by 1.4 is equals to 44.8 pixels. This will be the new line height value. Here's another pro tip. If your line height has a decimal value, it's best practice to round off the value. We will round it off to 45 pixels. Now that you know how to calculate a line height, I can finally teach you how much line height you need to use depending on the content within your website design. Here is an example of a text that's using a line height value of 100%. This will make each line of text feel too tight. Here is another example. This time, the text is using a line height value of 250%. This will make each line of text feel too far and unrelated to each other. So how can you know how much line height you need to use so that it doesn't feel too short or too large? The answer is actually really simple. When you have small text like paragraphs, it's best to use large line heights. Usually 140% to 160% is the best to use for small text like paragraphs, testimonials, and captions. In this example, the line height is set to 140%. However, if we do the same thing for large text like headings, it will not work the same way. So for large text like headings, it's best to use short line heights. Usually 110% to 120% is the best to use for large text. In this example, the line height is set to 110%. Congratulations! You have now learned how to use line height in website design like a pro. And just like I promised, it's time for the bonus lesson.
Yes!
We are going to implement everything that you've learned about line height in a website design project inside of Figma. I will be adding the Figma share link in the video description below. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I highly recommend that you watch this video first. This will allow you to follow and go along with me in Figma. In this example website design project, we have a simple two-column layout. On the left side, we have our text content, and on the right side, we have an image. For this project, we are going to focus on the text content. Our goal is to fix the line height of the heading and the paragraph. Let's start by fixing the line height of the heading. First, select the heading element. To make sure that you're selecting the correct element, check the layers panel on the left side and make sure that the heading is highlighted like this. Next, go to the design panel on the right side, and under typography, you will find the font size settings, which is currently set to 72 pixels, and line height settings currently set to 80%. As you can see, the line height for the heading is way too small. Remember what I've taught you earlier for large text? For large text like headings, it's best to use short line heights, usually 110% to 120%. For this example, we are going to set the line height of the heading to 110%. There are two ways we can do this. The first way is we can keep using percentage. Just type in here 110%. The second way is to use an exact pixel value by removing the percent sign. Remember the simple math formula that I've taught you earlier, so we are going to use that in here. Here's a pro tip. You can type the math formula directly into the line height settings and Figma will do the calculation for you. Type 72, which is the font size of the heading, multiplied by 1.1, which is the same as 110%. Press enter and Figma automatically gives us the total of 79.2 pixels. For best practice, let's round off the line height to 79 pixels. We are now done fixing the line height for the heading. Good job! Now let's fix the paragraph next. First, select the paragraph element. Just like before, check the layers panel on the left side, but this time, make sure that the paragraph is highlighted like this. Over in the design panel on the right side, under typography, you will see the font size is currently set to 24 pixels, and line height is currently set to 100%. And just like the heading before, the line height for the paragraph is way too small. Remember what I've taught you earlier about small text? For small text like paragraphs, it's best to use large line heights, usually 140% to 160%. For this example, we are going to set the line height of the paragraph to 140%. Again, just like before, we can do it in two ways. First is to keep using a percentage just by typing 140% in the line height settings. Second is using a pixel value. So let's erase everything and type in our math formula for calculating line heights. Type 24, which is the font size of the paragraph, multiplied by 1.4, which is the same as 140%. Press enter and Figma will calculate it for us, giving us the total of 33.6 pixels. For best practice, let's round off the line height to 34 pixels. We are now done fixing the line height for both the heading and the paragraph. This is how the website design looks like before fixing the line height. And this is now how it looks like after fixing the line height. The website design now looks cleaner, more professional, and much easier to read. I hope you learned a lot and found this video helpful. If you do, please let me know in the comments below if you want me to create more videos like this. Salamat kaibigan! Paalam!